Hello again YouTube, and welcome back to part 2 of the Henry Stripdown video. If you remember, in part 1 I connected the autosave board up and the machine didn't work, so I had to play back the video to just check I connected it correctly, and it turned out that I hadn't. So basically what I had to do was to have a look at the video there, and it basically I put the board in upside down and connected it up the right way but upside down. So I'm just hoping and praying now that I haven't actually blown this board by incorrectly connecting it. So only time will tell. I've got the correct way to do it here written down. We'll connect it back according to this and hope and cross my fingers that I haven't blown the board, because I have. I'll have to buy a new one myself. Yeah, so there is the moral of the story. When you're taking these apart, always make a note, or don't try and connect it unless you're absolutely sure, because it's all too easy to connect things wrong. And that's only 4 connections, but because I put it in upside down inside there, that's why it wouldn't work. But anyway, we can now proceed to put our Henry back together. So if anyone's just found this on a search, on a YouTube search, this is actually part 2. Part 1 is also on my channel of how to initially strip the machine down. What we're doing now is we're going to put it all back together again. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our... Oh, just make sure the camera's pointing down on the workbench first. Let's just do that. Right, so the first thing we need to do is to take our hood and place that on the bench, face down, and then we can take our cord reel, which in the first video I detailed how to take out the screws to get access to the screws here to replace the cable, should you need to do that. That's fairly easy enough to do. So what we're going to do is we're going to lower our cable reel back into the hood, and we've got the slot in the side here where the cable comes out, so we're going to just put the cable through there, and we've got a grommet, so like a plastic grommet in here, and I've got to remember which way this goes myself. Basically that grommet will go back in the housing. Let's just check that. What it is, it's secured at the top and the bottom. And you can see the little recesses here. You've got a recess there and one there, so it'll go in long way round like so and just slide down. It doesn't matter if it falls out again, as long as you make sure you remember to put it back in like that before you lower the rest of it on. Otherwise you'll kick yourself, because you've got to take it back to pieces again to get that in. So it doesn't look like it's going to stay at the moment. We're going to make sure that that is in when we put our top back down, the middle part. Okay. So that's the cable reel. What we're going to make sure as well is that those contacts inside there are in good condition. And you can see here that we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 parts to that. If any of those are broken off, then it's not good news, but they're all okay on this one. So we're going to take our middle part, which is this. This is the part that contains the switches and the slip rings here. Now already there's enough grease on here. We don't have to go mad with grease on there. They do it at the factory, and it lasts anyway. So what we're going to do is we're just going to turn that upside down like so, and we're going to lower it back in. Now it only goes in one way. Obviously you've got your exhaust part and you've got your part here which lowers down into that gap there, but as you're lowering that down into here, you've got to make sure, as I said just a minute ago, that that is in place as well. But before we do that, I'm just going to put the switch housing cover back on, which is this part here, because obviously we didn't do that before. So turn it over again. It's only goes on one way up, and that part there, if you see there, you've got a metal cylindrical part here which goes round. It's like a filter basically that goes around the cables, and that there corresponds to that cutout in here. So you can't put it on the wrong way round like that. It won't go on. Well, it might do, but you're going to make sure that that recess there is at the bottom, which it goes onto there. That's how you know how to put that on. And so basically it just slides and clicks into place. Both ends, one, and the other end's already clicked in there. So that's basically your switch housing replaced. Okay, so now we can get our hood back over here again and our cable reel. Take your exhaust part there and line it up with this gap. Move that out of the way. So we're going to lower that down. Takes a little bit of fettling, but it goes eventually. And we're going to, before we fully lower it down, just put this back into the hole, and then holding that in position, lower the middle section down so it effectively looks like that. Okay, so your bottom half is held in by that part, and your top half of that is held in by this, which is then pushed down. And this is the stage then you'll be at. Okay, so that's that. What we can do then is we can reconnect our circuit board. Now, according to my little diagram, which I've got here, this is the way around it goes. Okay, so you've got your writing there which says red and blue, and your transistor and all this silver part at the top. All right, so that's the way it slides in. So we're going to slide it into the housing, just like so. So that's what it's going to look like from the rear. So the first thing you're going to connect is the brown, which is the bottom. In fact, let's just remove it up here at this point, and we can connect the cables from here. So we've got brown on the bottom in that corner there, and then we've got the grey, which goes there, and then we've got the black, which is at the bottom, and then we've got the blue, which goes onto that connection there. So essentially it's grey, brown, black and blue, and that's the top, and that's exactly how it's been done. So all I have to do now is just hope that works, because it's not unheard of if you connect these wrong, do it, you'll fry a component part. That then slides back down into the housing like that. So now we can reconnect the motor. So here's the motor, and you've got the rubber mount which goes on the top. We'll put that on in a sec. So what we've got, you've got the white plastic mounting. It's actually a sort of hard rubber, that is, and those there will correspond with those recesses in the bottom of the housing. So you're going to put the motor in so that those there go into there. Okay, so we'll reconnect the motor. Now you've got one terminal here and your other terminals there, and it doesn't really matter which way it goes round, so we can connect. Obviously that one there goes to the far side and this one is to the near side, so we can connect the near side connector run that one round to the other side. And connect that as well. And then we just twist it round and we should be able to lower it into position. And then you've got two little tiny recesses in here in the plastic case that you push the white wires into those little recesses like so. Right, that makes sure that these two little wires don't get trapped when you put the next part on. So we're going to put the rubber on. Well, at this stage again I will just have a quick test because I need to know at this stage whether the autosave board has actually been damaged. Well, it looks like that's working, so we'll try again. Yeah, that's fine. Absolutely fine. I was fairly lucky there. As I say before, I reconnected it incorrectly and doing things in haste, and then it didn't work. So there we go. The motor's now in position, so we can put our baffle, or our sort of sound deadening material, back around the top of the motor. Like so. Just squeezing it in there. In fact, what I'll try and do is to get this turned round such that the gap in there is not anywhere near where the circuit board is. Because that really is supposed to act as a bit of a filter as well. But it's not quite long enough to go all the way around with a little gap. Right. Okay, so that's our baffling material in. So then the stages, we're at that stage. And then we can put the base back on. Now the base I removed earlier has still got all its screws. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And let's just have a check. Yeah, that has to go in one particular way around. Inside the bottom, right, this part here with the grill, okay, you're looking at the rest of it there, that is the part there that will go onto the side where the exhaust filter is, sorry, the exhaust vent, which is there at the back. So rather than going that way around, it always has to go that way, so that your exhaust air blows out of that vent there straight through the back, and that's the back of the cleaner. You can see the exhaust there. So we're going to put it in like that. Okay. Looks like it might take a little bit of fettling again here just to get that in. Why won't that go? Unless I have got it the wrong way around. Let's just try it the other way. Oh right, yeah, okay then. Scrap what I just said there, because that was wrong. What we're going to have to do is put it in the opposite way around. So this part here, which I thought actually went to the exhaust vent, goes the opposite side to where the exhaust vent actually is. So your exhaust vent's here, that opening comes out here. So effectively what's happening is the exhaust air blows out of here, it blows round these channels to the sides, past the autosave board, right? So it's making sure that the cooling air always comes past here. Okay, so let's just tidy that back up again. Right, now we can put it back in. So it will only go in one way round. If you get it the wrong way, you'll find it won't go on. There we go, that's better. That's pushed in there. So we can now tighten all our screws up. Take the power cord out. Now what's happened here, if you notice, that's come out again. So before you fully tighten it, make sure that that is back in. So you're going to have to lift it slightly. Lift the middle up. Push that back in. And now we can do our screws up. I'm going to do them up with a screwdriver because the power screwdriver isn't working very well at the moment. It might need charging up again. The middle ones do seem very stiff. There we go, that's that one. And that one there. I will try and use the electric screwdriver for the other ones. Okay, just check those are tight. Yeah. 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 And that's the last one. Righty-ho. So there we go. That is now reassembled. That's in position. That's locked in. Handle's okay. I'll just focus in on the serial number here, just in case anybody wants to see that. This camera, there we go, that's focused now. So it's an HVR200A, and we can see the serial number on the bottom there is 1120 04763. Now, the date that you can date pneumatics from this code. The first two digits are the year it was made, which was 11. In other words, that's 2011. And then the next two, the 20 part, is the week of that year. So this was made in week 20 of 2011. So it was made in about early May by the looks of things, May 2011. It is the 1200 watt motor, and there's your weight, 8.75. Right. So we now can go and get the base. Okie dokie. So there we go. There's our base, there's our bag. I did talk about these bags a little bit earlier on. I've just puffed dust all over my tracksuit top now, and it's black as well. There we go. Put the filter back in. And then we can put our top back on. Like so. And let's just give it another final test. Core drill is working okay. Yep. Plug it in. I'll just close that door because it's getting late at night and the neighbours will start complaining if I start turning vacuums on. There we go. I have no trouble with noise from neighbours as it is. I don't want to make things worse. That's the trouble with terraced houses when you're living in these sort of places. You're always frightened to do anything late at night. My neighbours aren't. They just come in and party all night long whenever they feel like it. So, sod 'em. There we go. So there we go. That is the strip down and reassembly of the Numatic HVR200A, in which I showed how to replace the PCB and also detailed how to replace the cable if you needed to do it, and the carbon brushes in the motor. So if you've got one of these and it stops working, just go ahead, order yourself a new autosave board. Just make sure you connect it correctly. That's all I'll say. Make a note before you disconnect it of which goes where, and then when you reconnect it up, you're going to be safe and sound. So there we go. I shall bid you farewell, and see you on the next video.